Welcome to
Oh, we're
another
live.
unauthorized and rum fuel Thursday treasure hunt in the sharky waters around the Gatsby Islands with Gatsby deep diving queen Raae
Booyah! Ska du med
and
dina?
Gatsby pirates.
Ja, kom da.
Paul
Hello.
the navigator, and me,
Hello.
Ola V. So today we're doing YouTube Markdown in description. Whoa! Is that a cutlass I see?
Let's see. There she is.
Yeah.
Så där är du, lillan.
Oh, John!
Där!
Hello, John!
Okay, I said wave, but this is what we're getting. No show today. I'm dying. I'm being beheaded again. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, we're ligger där. She's going semi to bed over there. Okay.
Oh, look at this.
Hello, John. How are you?
Yeah. And here also Petter on the
Petter's in the chat.
Here.
Hello, Petter. And Ineza's in the chat. Hello, Ineza.
I'll click him. I'm clicking him. Oh, he says hi there, Tom. Yeah. And here's Tom. Yeah. But you people, I looked into the code. There's a lot of code today.
It's not that much.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
Famous last words.
Yeah. Oh.
Famous last words. We're going to try to do it step by step so that we can see what is happening inside of GraphQL, so we can see my thought process. I think maybe that's that's what we're going to go for.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Thought process. I like it.
I'm just going to make us a little more narrow so the kid can just do whatever she wants over there. So I prepared today. So Paul is just going to be chillaxing, or he might be asking some questions though about the thought process and what we've been, or asking me some questions about what I've done, because I did this late at night on Tuesday. So, I might not remember everything I've done.
Oh, you know what I did? I sent that message that we shall not say what it's about to the wrong guy.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, so today's idea was, I've had this idea for a long time. It's like, could we use Markdown in our YouTube descriptions? Because the whole kind of thing that alerted me, or not alerted me, but that got me into Gatsby in the beginning was their talk of the content mesh. You can source data from everywhere and you can create nodes, and then you have these transformer plugins that will transform the node if it's the correct type. So we know this, if we source Markdown files, then all of the Markdowns file will then become Markdown, they're files, and then they become Markdown nodes, and then the Markdown nodes are sent through the gatsby-transformer-remark plugin. So I was like, how can we get the YouTube descriptions into the content layer as Markdown nodes so that they will be treated like any other Markdown nodes? Yeah, and it does look like Paul is cooking up the best of questions. No pressure.
I'll keep it light, although I do have some questions.
You do have some questions. So,
well, I think perhaps in what you're doing, you'll answer them. So I'll refrain from answering until you've done your bit. So you do you. You carry on.
Yeah, you do you. Yeah. He said with a smirk. Yes, I thought I'll take you through how I came up with the solution, what my thought process was and the steps that I did, because it actually it worked out the way that I thought it was going to work. I'm just going to ask the pirate princess to not practice her band right now, and then we'll continue.
I love graphical too, John. I've been playing graphical all day, and in the end, I got a little bit fed up. But you know how it is with love. It goes up and down. You can't be the same fuzzy feeling all the time. Yeah, I couldn't get my images to work from Sanity. Oh. Oh, look at this! We have another guy in the stream. It's the Tom Eric. Hello. Oh yeah.
Hello, Tom.
Yeah. That's Paul.
Hello.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
I'm waving at my microphone.
Do we want to introduce Tom, or are we just gonna?
I can do it. I can do it. Are you ready, Tom?
I'm ready.
Tom and me, Tom and me, we're doing a show, and I'm trying to call them there. And sometimes it's cool, but most times it's shit. But that's me, not Tom. He's just helping me. Yeah. Oh, look at this! Look who just showed up!
Wow.
Hello, Gatsby. So let's
Gatsby admin in the house.
Completely butchering my node creation process. That would be lovely. So in more serious terms, Tom is one of our oldest friends, and he's also a developer here in Norway, and he has been streaming with Ola on Sundays, and then also yesterday morning, I think, over on this channel, which is now we got multiple hosts and multiple streams, and their stream is the unsupervised stream because I just yell at them in the chat. But anywho, let's get coding, I guess, and then just chime in and ask questions, both all of you. Like hope. So that was not a band practice. That was just a moving of a chair. Like I'm gonna have such a hard time concentrating.
No, it's going to be good.
That's how it is. This is a family stream, everyone. Okay, so the task for today, I'm gonna just say it again. We are trying to source the YouTube descriptions as Markdown so that we can use all of the Markdown transformer goodness. So I'm gonna share my screen, and then we're gonna get going. So my thought was that we would have to create nodes, of course, then content nodes with the type Markdown, or I'm going to have a look at how that looks already. That there will be the type, what's it called though? It's like a Markdown, like the different nodes can have different media types. So it's going to be text Markdown. So that was like my first thought, is that we need to source these files into, not these descriptions, as Markdown nodes. So let's have a look at graphical. So what I wanted was for them to show up like over here. We don't source.
Sharing your screen.
Oh, am I not sharing my screen? Thank you, Paul. It's not easy doing it all. Like it's, you know.
I mean, it was nice just watching you talk about it, but you know.
So the interesting thing here is that we haven't set up any Markdown sourcing, like regular Markdown sourcing. So that could have probably been a good first step, but we're going to skip that. So what I want is for there to be nodes in this list that are Markdown nodes, so that they will be later transformed by the Gatsby transformer-remark plugin.
Could you give us a little
so if you
bit
had no
more
Markdown
zoom
experience,
on that?
then
sorry, just a little bit more zoom if you can. That'd be helpful.
There we go.
That's better. Thank you.
That's better. Yeah. Okay. So we already, in our Gatsby node file, we're already sourcing our videos. So we are asking Google, the YouTube API, for all of the videos in the Nadamob playlist. And then we are creating nodes for each one. And those are the nodes we can see here, the YouTube nodes. And just first, we're going to do a little bit of maintenance here because we are sourcing in 50. You're sourcing in 50 videos, and we are always having a little bit of slowness. So I created a max result up here. And as Paul pointed out, there should be development, but I don't know what happened. Like, we'd rather check for development, but when I was doing this, I couldn't get it to work, and I think I just spelled development wrong. But that wasn't like the point of my of my exploration. So I just, like, it worked. we can fix that after the stream.
So basically, this is just to pull
get
fewer results when we're in development.
Yeah, get 5
right?
videos
Right.
instead of 50 videos. So we don't end up like because now we're going to restart the node we're going to restart Gatsby quite a few times because we're changing like crucial things. So instead of then creating 50 nodes for the videos and then 50 nodes for the descriptions, let's just do 5. Okay, so we can see here that in create node or in source nodes, we are already sourcing the YouTube videos. And I had like an idea, maybe we should do it here in source nodes to then take because here we take everything, like all the information we are getting back, we are just creating a node with those fields. So if you look at YouTube, is it big enough?
Maybe one more zoom would be good, if you can. Yeah, that
if you
sense.
look at YouTube snippet description, here we have our description. And then that's what I want to make into Markdown. So I thought about doing it here inside of source nodes, but that is not how they are creating kind of new child nodes in all of the different like plugins I checked out, and I didn't thoroughly reread the documentation. So I felt like, okay, we're not supposed to add like extra nodes in here. We're just going to create the nodes, like one node for each thing we get in from the API. If we're going to make child nodes, it seems like the best practice is to make like child nodes inside of this uncreate node. And we're already kind of doing it because we are creating these image nodes that we worked on last stream, where we are creating remote file nodes. So that's one type of a node where it's pointing to a file somewhere else, which is our thumbnails. So I thought, okay, let's just keep on working here in the same regard. So we need then the description. So we're going to make a description node. Description node. I'm just going to copy paste that because like today I'm not. We are going to make an object that describes our new description node. And all of these need an ID, and we can use create ID, node ID. We haven't been so good with using create node ID everywhere, but I think like that is the intended use, is to use that for every node we create. We kind of forgot to do it up here in the video. So we're going to create a node ID. We're just going to use the node ID that we are getting from our video, right? Because that we know that is unique. So we'll start with that, but we don't want it to be the same node ID as our video IDs because it's going to be a separate node. So I saw in the remark document or in the remark plugin, they just add little arrows like this, but you could add anything. It could be a dash or whatever. So I'm just going to do the same they did, and then we'll add a markdown. So we are now we're seeding this create node ID with the node ID of the video, and then adding markdown to make it unique. And then we need to give it a parent. We don't have to give it a parent, but since this description belongs to the video should be its parent. So let's do that. And then this is the crucial part, and that is the internal key, which is also an object. And this is where you then say that this should be media type text markdown. Now we're kind of telling Gatsby that this node is of the media type text markdown, and its content should then be the description, which we have on snippet description. We found it here, right? So YouTube snippet description. So then this node will be YouTube node, and then snippet description, because we're already checking to see if it's an YouTube node. And then there's always needed a content digest, and this is what Gatsby, I think, use internally to see if there's been any changes to the node. There is a helper for that as well. Create content digest. Where do we get that one from? Is it from Actions?
Good question.
No, it's not from Actions. It's the same place as this create node thing.
Yeah, it'll just come off the, be destructured as normal. Yeah.
So create content digest, and we'll just put the whole, all of the content in there. So it's going to make a hash. so that next time it runs, it can see like, has this changed? And if it hasn't changed, it doesn't need to like recreate the pages that are based on this node because the node hasn't changed. And then I just found in the documentation, you can like add a cool description if you want to. So I added YouTube a description. I'm going to write description wrong so many times today. I can just feel it.
You wrote YouTube wrong as well. We've got YouTube.
YouTube.
YouTube. YouTube. Okay, so now we were kind of described the node, and then we'll create it. Create node. I don't know if we've destructed create node yet, because we're not creating any nodes in here. Yes, we do, because we're okay. So we have the create node. So now we can create the node, and we'll use kind of, this is our description of the node. And if everything works correctly now, we should have new nodes in our GraphiQL. Okay, is this just like Greek? Is it not?
It's Greek, but that's cool. We like Greek. There's nothing wrong with Greek.
Okay, so for every YouTube node, we are creating a new description node that has the YouTube node as its parent. Yeah,
it's cool.
It's cool.
The stuff I'm doing here in Gatsby Node.js is a little bit more bare bones and basic. but I see it's much of the same principles. So
yeah,
it's like Greek. I understand that you're talking to me here, but I don't really get it. What's going on? But that's fine. I'll just.
Maybe you need to come up with a shorthand way to explain this, but I guess in theory it's taking data from one source, and as Benedicte was saying earlier, like Gatsby's content mesh, we're taking it from one source, putting it into Gatsby using these special methods. Then we can query everything in the same way through graphical or GraphQL.
Yeah, we like that. I know I like it. Yeah.
How bizarre that I was the voice of reason there. Sorry, I need to just sort that out.
Yeah, but I am not. Oh, I know what's happening. We forgot to give it a type. So we have a media type, but it needs to have a type as well. Yeah. Those are the names inside of the GraphiQL there. So I decided to go with kind of this. We have.
Hey, can I say a thing before you take away the code?
Yeah,
because now I suddenly realize something. So yeah, you have a type here, because when I'm doing my pizza data insanity, I'm saying, this. Do I have the code here even? I think I do. I say type and I say name. That's all I say. Yeah, here it is. Type, string, name, and I also have type, image, name.
That's your sanity.
Yeah.
That's your sanity.
So I'm kind of doing the same thing. I'm kind of doing the same thing there. I'm describing my data so that I can, because that's what happens. Because I did something wrong here and then it didn't show up in GraphiQL, just like you did now. Huh.
So it's the same kind of concept, because in our kind of world of websites or I guess in like software development in general, we often have to describe different types of data. So inside of Sanity, you create like Sanity schemas, and then inside of Gatsby, you create your Gatsby nodes that also has schemas, and then they are the same concept, but they are done in like different flavors. So Sanity has like their dialect, and then Gatsby has their dialect. So it's the same concept, but it's like you write it a little differently in the different places, but it's the same concept. So that was a good connection, Ola.
Yeah.
Well, so this is going to be a fun stream because my computer is so slow. You can be happy. Yeah. You'll be happy to know though, Paul, that I'm closer to getting a better computer. driving a police car across.
Yeah, that's good.
But this was on my desk for some reason.
Yeah, he's very good.
Do you
looking.
also have kids, Tom?
Yes, I have kids,
Well,
and
that
yeah,
I feel like that is
It-
You have a very
Voice.
calming voice, Tom. I'd like
Yeah.
to hear more of your voice.
I think it's just the microphone,
Yeah.
actually.
Where
Oh,
are you?
she's-
Where Benedicte's gone. Oh,
She's
she's
back.
quit.
Yeah.
the wrong freaking browser. I was going to refresh like a GraphQL browser, and
Just
then
pull the plug.
I
Yeah.
refreshed the wrong browser.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
fine.
So yay! Now we can see we have YouTube descriptions.
Yes, you just made that all on your own, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're
But
saying.
it's not that. Yeah, it's not that interesting though, because it basically only has like that internal information, the content, or here the internal content, which is the same content that we had as descriptions, right? Because now it's a YouTube description, and I guess it also has then the parent ID, which is the YouTube ID.
But why
So
is
we're-
it internal? I don't get it. What's internal
because
about it?
it's internal. It's not supposed to be used on the Gatsby side. It's supposed to be the internal. What's on internal is supposed to be used by that content layer. What's it called again, Paul? Is it called the data layer? Gatsby data layer? Yeah. So the internal fields are supposed to be only be used inside of the Gatsby data layer. So
Okay.
we haven't gotten that much further, but we have said, that this is supposed to be Markdown. And since we now have Markdown nodes, we could use the gatsby-transformer-remark plugin. And I, of course, did not install that ahead of time. I have that in the other branch, but not in this branch. So we're gonna have some fun.
Why don't you install that? And because if that's happening, I've got some questions at this point, because this was one of the things I was curious about when I saw your PR, which was, I suppose I could have looked myself, but I was just wondering when it comes back from the YouTube API, it's always just going to be a string, right? I see there was a couple of \ns for like the line breaks, but there's nothing that you can do in YouTube where you make something bold or something like that changes that output. So it always comes back as a string, effectively.
Yes, it's always the content we're getting back from YouTube is a string, and Markdown is just strings with different characters. You do the little stars for bold or emphasized, and you do your hash for headings and stuff like that. So so the description coming back is just a string, and now we've said, okay, we're making a new node with that string as content, but we're saying that content is Markdown.
So if you were to make it bold in YouTube, there's no difference. Like you said, there would be nothing extra in that string that comes back from YouTube. Then
you can't make it so. YouTube descriptions are like so basic. There is no bold. There's no headings. The only thing is if you copy paste in, or if you add a link, it will automatically make that link into a link, but you can't make a title for that link. Like it will just be that link. So it's very basic. And that's why I was like, well, this is just text. Can't we just make it pretend it's Markdown and then see? So now I've installed the transformer plugin, and we're going to put that in our config, and we'll do another. Maybe we don't have to redo our development, because now if we refresh the correct browser, do we have our Markdown? No. So I think we need to restart, since we're adding new things to config and stuff like that. Hey.
So is the aim here then that gatsby-transformer-remark is going to recognize that there's nodes in the data layer that are of type Markdown, that it will then transform?
Exactly. And that's why we want to do this in the data layer, because we could, of course, somewhere in our front end, we could say, oh, we know that this string is Markdown, and then do some magic transformation like in our React code. But if we do it in our React code, we're not getting all of like the good stuff that Gatsby Transformer Remark gives us. For instance, if we add an image link in there, I haven't tested that though, but if we add an image link somewhere in our YouTube description, it would then be handled the same way that images in regular Markdown is handled. I think this probably stream doesn't make much sense if you have no Markdown. We
have a question from John. Do you want to look at it?
I can't. Let's see.
I put it up. Do you want to look at it? Should I read it out?
You have to read it. Otherwise, because right now
you have to read it in John's voice as well.
Yes, of course. I'm just asking permission from the Queen to say yes. Okay.
Please do.
I can't remember exactly what I did before, though. Could not context be used within the YouTube node? I use context in my thing with the sanity thing.
The context. Oh, you mean when you pass it into the page? I guess. Do you mean page context?
Yeah. So that's what I thought, at least. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was what I kind of just talked about. If we could add that description, and we have that description already in our page, and we could use a front end parser of Markdown and parse it and show it as Markdown. But then it doesn't get pushed through that Gatsby transformer remark, which is very powerful.
Sorry,
did I answer the correct thing? Let me.
I think so. But I laughed over your punchline there. Something about the power of the Markdown.
Yeah. No, so I can see another question from John now that I see the thing again. I think I can see some regex coming into play. No, so that's the amazing part. We don't need to use any regex because our Gatsby Transformer Remark plugin is going to do all of the nice things for us. And I have it working already. So let's have a look. So we had our YouTube descriptions that let's go for all. So we have all YouTube descriptions with an internal media type and content. So the media type is text Markdown, and we have our content. Now we suddenly have a child Markdown remark on this node because we said that because the Gatsby Transformer Remark plugin recognized this as a Markdown node, and then it does Markdown magic on the node. So you could either go into the child Markdown Remark and then HTML, and suddenly we can see that we have that same content, but as HTML. Look at that, P tags, link tags. I mean, isn't this? This is the stuff I geek out over. I'm like, wow, it's amazing. So we can, if we just want to be sure that we are dealing with YouTube description, we can go into and have a look at this child Markdown remark. But we will also see that what the Gatsby Transformer Remark has done is create Markdown nodes. So this would be the same information just as Markdown nodes. But if we are sourcing Markdown from multiple places, then all of them will be placed here as a Markdown node. So if you are doing Markdown files or you're getting Markdown content from other CMSs, all of them will be in all Markdown Remark. But only on YouTube, if you want to filter it down to just our YouTube descriptions, we can have a look at this child Markdown Remark. So I find this super fascinating. I mean, yes, John, you get me. Same mind. Paul is like, oh, content.
No. I like ASTs. I like this stuff. It's good. It's interesting.
But then, interestingly enough, when we are in, so this, I think, this is so much easier than I thought. I thought I would spend a long time trying to figure this out. But I had to just create a node with the information I wanted and the media type I wanted, which means that we could just create, we could just YOLO create nodes in here as well if we wanted with Markdown and the Markdown Remark. The Gatsby Transformer Remark plugin would just pick it up and transform it because it has the right media type. So I think that it's super powerful. But for our pages, I would like to be able to query it straight on YouTube and not on YouTube description. Ideally, I would love to be able to do all YouTube nodes, and then we have our image field. I would also like to have a description field here somewhere that is Markdown. Instead of have it like I want to keep this snippet as is, because this is the data we're actually getting back from YouTube, but I would like to kind of have access to the Markdown.
Oh, now I completely understand why you did what you did with your PR. I misinterpreted that as something else. Yeah, that's a fantastic solution, I have to say. So, what you're about to see, everyone, is brilliant.
So we could, in our let's have a look at our pages. Because what we have so far is like we have this just a pre-tag that just dumps out the description we're getting to back with the line breaks and everything. And this is what we want to change out for like true HTML. So either, I guess we could go into our YouTube and we could reuse that ID. No, because no, that's what the thing is. We're using the file system route API. So the ID here is the ID for our YouTube node. So it would be much easier if we can just query for description in here instead of having to have a separate query for our YouTube description. So that is what we're going to do some magic. And then I have to look at these things I cannot write just like I need to have my cheat sheet to actually write this correctly. And we might have, and then create, yeah. So first we have to do the same thing we did for the image. We have to create a same thing we're doing for image here. We need to create a node field because we're not supposed to be using the internal information. So we'll create a node field on our node. So remember, our node is the video. We are doing node internal type YouTube. So we are working on the video, not the video description, YouTube description. We are working on YouTube node. And then we'll add a field description, and then the value will be the description node ID. And here I did something. This was what took me the longest when I was researching this, because I just created the node and tried to await that and then add that in here. But that's not how you do it. Somehow you create the ID and then you just use the ID, and then you don't await this create node. You just like let that happen on its own. So that's why you want to have either just create the ID outside of create node, or create the whole object like I've done, and then create your node and then use the ID down here. So if we add that, we should now have a description on our fields. It might not have happened yet. So all YouTube. And these fields, it seems like to me, are like this fields object. It seems like to me that's where you could just like can dump anything. So all the plugins can just like dump things into fields so that I can reuse it later. That's kind of what I feel like. I'm not going to restart yet because it's just going to take too long time. So let's do everything. But on this fields, there will be a key called description that then is linked to the link to our YouTube description node. And then we do the magic, same type of magic as we did for our images, and we go back to our create schema. Can I put this at the bottom of let's put this at the bottom of the file, Paul, because that's where we're like working on these things. So we have said earlier we said, okay, from the image field from the image field, we want to create an image key that is a file. And then we'll do the same thing for the description. Okay, I'm going to copy paste this because I cannot spell description. And that's going to be of type YouTube description. I mean, our own node. So above, we're using file, which is one of the nodes that kind of come with Gatsby. But now we're going to use our own node, which is YouTube description. It's not easy being a dyslexic programmer. Okay. And then we're going to link that to the fields description. Let's make sure I spelled that correctly again. Now we'll need to restart again. Okay. And while we wait for the restart, I can see if there are any more questions.
Yes, John has a question.
Yeah. Okay. I love all these questions. So,
was that the question I was just replying to?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. But should I read it?
Yes, please.
Read it out. Yeah.
Will you then just bring this over in your query, or do you plan to create Markdown files within your source folders from a template? Is this possible? It's very relevant to me because it's exactly what I'm doing with my data from Sanity.
Yes, I'm not like there. I can interpret this a different way. So, for our YouTube slug pages, that's where I want to be able to query the Markdown. So they don't have to be. We don't need to add any Markdown files to kind of like a content folder because we have our Markdown nodes already in the content, in our Gatsby content layer, data layer, Gatsby data layer. I need to get these terms correctly. And we're going to use that in the YouTube slug pages. But we could have created separate pages if we wanted to, just from the Markdown nodes, if that was the question. But we don't need that. But we could do that as like a fun exercise if we want to. Okay. Oh, I see Paul's comment. I thought forgoing that, could Gatsby node build MD files?
Yeah. So I think what John's question is here, and maybe I've tried to answer it there.
Yeah.
My thought process here would be there's a difference between sourcing data and transforming data. And so Gatsby node can kind of be used for both, but predominantly it's used for sourcing. But if those Markdown files are local, they'll already exist on disk. And so using something like Gatsby source file system, you can query the content of a directory. And because the file system will know what media type the files are, e.g. they'll be Markdown. If you have gatsby-transformer-remark installed, when Gatsby does its build process, it will recognize that those files are of a certain type and just transform them, which is basically what you've done here, Benedicte. Like just by having the Markdown plugin installed, Gatsby does it for you. This last bit is basically just moving the location from where we query it. But like as you just showed, like all of that transformed Markdown existed on that new node. The type of the create schema, the create custom schema, was just to move it somewhere else so that we can reference it. So it's linking to a different place, but it's still on the local disk. It's still in the cache.
I think if we have time, we could add some Markdown files to our file tree, just so we can like have a little play around with where everything is coming from. Because as Paul said, you don't have to make Markdown files, but you could create new Markdown type nodes. You could just YOLO create Markdown nodes that then are then picked up by the Gatsby transformer-remark. But you will never in Gatsby node or anywhere like write files that you're then sourcing, if that makes sense. Anyway, yeah, that's a hard. Also, follow up in the discussions tab on our GitHub repo. Like if you have an example, then it's easier to answer. Great that answered your question, John. You must work at Gatsby.
Yeah.
Lillian said Gatsby.
Go on, Lil.
Okay, so I wanted to show the difference between these fields and what we did, because fields, we are just linking to the ID. So we have a field here and we say that the description is the Gatsby node that is identified by the ID that I highlighted. And the image is the image file node. And what we then did with like the schema, we said, okay, take the description node ID and kind of link it as a YouTube description type onto description. So we're copying everything that we would have found under the same node here, and we are putting it onto description in our YouTube node.
Would you like this? I mean, you have more experience with this than I do, but would you liken this to relational relationships between data or relational queries in databases? Because it's kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
You have the data is just on disk. The way you get to it is by pointing it into a certain shape, which is kind of what GraphQL is for, right? You request. It's not like RESTful. Like GraphQL is like, I want this data in this shape, and we've allowed our file system to prepare it in that shape because we did that relationship, that link using the schema.
Yeah, because probably under the hood, like it hasn't actually physically copied this. It's still just a reference to that other node. But when we're querying it, it can actually get that information back up. And also with GraphQL, I'm not a GraphQL expert. Like the only GraphQL I do is like playing around with Gatsby stuff. So when I learn more GraphQL, it's probably a better answer. But I think we do it so that we are able to query it, because otherwise our graphical would know what kind of things exists on our YouTube node. So we are saying like, hey, there's going to be a description field here, and it's going to map to YouTube descriptions. And we know that YouTube descriptions contain child Markdown remark. Otherwise, we couldn't have like picked it out in this list. It would just have been like unknown. Like there's a description with like unknown information here. But since we have specifically said that description should be of type YouTube description, then it can like look into the YouTube descriptions and be like, oh, YouTube descriptions have child Markdown remark and children and internal and parents. And then it like resurfaces those options onto our YouTube nodes. So now to the big amazing thing.
What does it do?
Like, what is it? Like, we've done a lot of work to get to this point. So what we now want to do is like show this on our page instead of our, just our regular description. And I know that I'm also going to need like the raw version of this, the raw Markdown body. So I'm just going to do that already. So let's do description, and we're asking for the HTML and the raw Markdown body. And then we head on over to our page, our YouTube slug page over here. And together with image, we can add the description query. And then instead of doing a we can do a section here that should then contain our Markdown HTML. Let's start by destructuring it. So we're not going to use the description from our snippet anymore. We are going to have a description directly on the YouTube, on our YouTube object. And then we want HTML and raw Markdown body. And I did that because I want to use the raw Markdown body in our page description, and I didn't want to rename the description up here because now I'm using the description straight on the YouTube. So then we had to rename it. So I'm just gonna do it in this. Like I'm just gonna use the data from there. It would be the same. And now to the magic. We are gonna dangerously set inner HTML. Then there's an object with HTML, and we're setting that to HTML. Why do we dangerously set inner HTML, Paul?
Because there's side effects to it. So what we're doing with the AST, which is when we transform the nodes from something to something else. You'll see in the GraphQL response that it's containing other HTML elements like p tags and anchors. At the time of the JSX rendering that, it doesn't know what it is. And so that response could, in theory, come back with an iframe, and we're just going to dump it straight into our JSX, but React doesn't know about it. That's why it's dangerous. But it's, well, dangerously set inner HTML is the kind of YOLO way to do it. There are slightly safer HTML renderers that I can't remember what the package is called. I'll look it up in a minute, but it will strip out certain completely dangerous methods. But that is the YOLO way to do it. However, we kind of know that no matter what we do in the YouTube description, we're actually only ever going to get relatively safe HTML back, right? You can't put any malicious stuff in a YouTube description, therefore we would never query it, and therefore you would never set it in JSX.
Oh, I did a mistake. So there's this, it's this child. I forgot. Yeah, do the child markdown remark before we can get it.
Try and find this package as well.
I am the one writing these descriptions, so I'm not going to write malicious code in my descriptions. But if somebody else was writing this markdown, you do not want to do it this way. And here we go. And it looks so bad because we added tailwind, so all our styling is gone. But these are now links. Look at that. We can have a look at, we can inspect. So now you can see, look, there's like paragraphs, and there are, I think I even managed to make a list here with links and everything. So I think this is quite amazing, everyone. Even though it looks like not that much.
I think it's great, and that would look a lot better if Tailwind wasn't resetting the styles, though, wouldn't it? I think that's the point, because it normalizes everything.
I have a question about the styling. So I can put in time codes, or I do that, and you can do it in the description too, right? Mm-hmm. And how will they look then here?
I think they will then be links.
So I can
or they might just be text, because it might be that like YouTube parses it on their end.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, you might not get a formatted time. I mean,
yeah,
there probably is a way to. I mean, do you know what? I'm not even going to talk about it because it will be boring. But there's ways to catch the node and then mutate it before it renders.
Oh, Inessa has a thing here. Should I make a voice for Inessa too? I've actually heard his voice.
What Inessa said.
I've actually heard his voice, so I can guarantee you it's not like this. If somebody say, should I read it?
No, no. Read it. No, don't make. Are you gonna make? Do you want the voice, Inessa? You have to say yes or no.
No, nobody. You decide. You can't. This is not a democracy.
Okay, give Inessa a voice then. That is different from John's.
Why? Must it be different?
No. Okay, do the same. Okay, everyone has the same voice then. Tomatic, do you have any questions? You've done some Gatsby stuff.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah. I'll read in this while they think, Tomatic. You could use the Tailwind typography plugin to give it some nice default styling. Do you hear?
I am on it.
Exactly what Benedict said earlier.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like it came from nowhere. Somebody suggested that on Twitter. So,
who was that?
That was Inessa.
Oh, he did.
Mm-hmm.
What he said here? Oh no, John. Oh, we got a war going.
What's happening?
You know, with all of this styling stuff, and I guess I'm talking directly to you, John. I'm so confused. Like every time I look at any solution, and I'm sure this has been said a million times, but it's like none of them are perfect. They all have issues. Like Tailwind is great for a number of reasons, but it's also bad for a number of reasons. And it's the same with style components. Like it's great, but then it also has issues. And I don't think this is anything to do with any of these solutions, this library. It's just CSS is a pain in the bee. That's basically what it comes down to.
I don't know if I think that. I don't know. I really enjoy CSS, but
oh, don't get me wrong, I love it. It's just hard to
look
manage
at that.
and big.
Look at that. Now we
Wow.
have formatted code. So what I did was I added so these things are nice with like Tailwind. There's so many nice presets, but as soon as you want to like do anything different, then so I added the Tailwind typography plugin, and then I added the Pros, LG Pros, XL, large Pros. I guess like if we remove this, we're gonna get smaller Pros. So there's like a Pros class. So what that does is style everything inside of that HTML element. Yeah, that was better. But it needs some padding then, or some margin. Oh, we haven't started doing any Tailwind in here. So MX, what was it again? 4?
God.
Or was it colon?
God.
I don't remember.
PX:4 would be padding.
Yeah, well, I just wanted there to be. Was it MX? Well, isn't that margin?
It'd be hyphen, not colon for MX.
But I'm guessing you want grid instead, right? On the main.
Of course I want grid. But you'll need the pros probably still on there, won't you?
Yeah, but then class name, and then it's grid.
Yeah.
And then what is it again? It's like what
Gap
you get some gap.
4.
Gap -4. Then we need a container. What was the just container?
Yeah. And then mx.auto, mx-auto, I think we'll do that.
I mean, this Tailwind stuff is good for like YOLOing, but other than
what did you remove? What was there? Did we have a max width?
Yes, I had some nice yellow inline styles. And I saw Petter said Benedicta loves YOLO. I just realized I'm old enough that I can just like be not cool and say YOLO all the time.
I wasn't even sure I knew what it meant until I met you. I was like, why do you keep saying YOLO?
You only live once, which means that you can like just do whatever you want. Or
that sounds like
today.
the next James Bond film where James Bond is like a cool developer.
Excuse me? That movie will never happen, Paul.
What? You only live once, and it'd be like Bond just going around and like catching bad guys.
Oh, but I have to do something on container. Do I need to say like max width or something?
Yeah. Check whatever the other one we did in the index. Go into index. Container MX or
oh no, because we didn't do a max there because we wanted it's a grid, so we wanted the full width. So let's just do max. M width, max width. Where's my Tailwind people?
It'd be W. Oh, hang on. What is? Yeah. See, this is the problem. Hang on. What do you want? You want a max width?
Yeah,
I think it's good.
I even paid for Tailwind UI just to like see what the fun was all
but
about.
max width doesn't come in there. Container should have a max width on it already, shouldn't it?
Yeah,
no, that's what
I agree. I'm not going to find out. Every time they do this Tailwind stuff, in my head I go blah 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 blah. Here, Ines
rapidly build modern websites without ever leaving your HTML. Tometic, that's what it is.
Yeah, container has a max width on it already.
I left my HTML a long time ago. Why would I go back?
More. Ines has more stuff for us. Look at this. Max-W2XL. That sounds cool. It does.
There we go.
So I thought I left HTML for JavaScript. Wasn't that the whole point?
Well, now we're YOLOing.
Yeah.
Well, extra large.
But it's very good that we use acronyms. I understand now that it's one of the pillars of software engineering is acronyms and yeah. So
absolutely.
YOLO. Yeah, absolutely. We should do it.
But we need some padding on the whole thing as well. So yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out a way to write some malicious things in the YouTube descriptions. now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was
Well,
trying
you-
to find that thing, wasn't I?
You don't have access to my YouTube descriptions, so.
Well, it still could be fun to try. I can. Well,
Mhm.
I can just fork your project there.
No, you couldn't because you don't get access to our YouTube because you don't have
make my
access
own
to our
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, your own YouTube. Yeah, sure.
But
Why
I
am I
know-
not getting? See, now
I
we're
can
on the
answer.
hour. I'm starting to just like go off script YOLOing now. So
But-
now we all
but-
know it's gonna go downhill from here.
But I can answer Tom Eric's, how do you get malicious stuff into the description? Because that happened at Twitter. Somebody bribed somebody at Twitter to get logins of famous people, and they tweeted for them. So they could do that. You can
They
go
could-
to YouTube, bribe somebody, and get your login and get some, something. I don't know what into the description. Yeah.
But why am I not getting any padding on the top and bottom?
It's because you're using Tailwind. Sorry, I'm gonna be kicked off.
We
the
are
stream
not.
now.
We are still like it might not forever be Tailwind. Let's see. Margin.
All right. So
it's MY. Oh, it's M. It's M.
But-
It's MY. Sorry.
but Paul, did you see that Penn State video thing?
No, I didn't, but I kind of know what you were talking about. Sorry, I'm just trying to find this package.
Yeah. For
Go on,
top and
I can
bottom,
multitask.
I don't know what happened to our pros though.
in
removed
SSS
the class.
P-4.
Oh, I removed the class. Sorry.
That's multitasking. I'm not even looking at the stream either.
Good.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we should.
I don't know. I don't know what this
something-
thing's called.
Let's see. So we have the aside. We need to style all of this. Let's not style that now.
Yeah.
But at least look at this, and then I
Yeah.
can probably go into the descriptions, and I could update with like. Can I do that right now in here? Let's add a H, like a heading.
John, no, I don't think it will. Oh, sorry. Not for the remark, but it does do it for the images for these pages. That was our kind of thing we were trying to solve last week. So this
No,
approach-
but I think what John is asking, like if you put Markdown images inside, if you put images inside of your Markdown, then then Gatsby will do its magic.
will
for
it
you.
though? I don't know.
Yeah.
Will it? Because we've got what? Because we've got the remark transformer in there,
Yeah.
so it would just do it automatically.
But
Yeah.
give me an example then, so I understand it. Let's say, give
Put
me
an
an
image
example
in
of,
the YouTube description. It should come out on our site, but have all the blur up stuff.
so for example, we could have our like avatars from Twitter there showing up on the side, if it was possible.
If it was possible to put it in YouTube, I don't
Yeah.
know what's possible in that description though. Benedict would know.
It's probably
No, but
not.
that's. I mean, it's just gonna be Markdown, right? Because that's what we're doing. So let's see.
Oh, you can
Okay.
actually write Markdown in YouTube description.
Yeah. Well, that's what we've been doing, Paul. That's our whole thing.
You said this is why I asked you at the beginning. I was like, it comes back as a string.
Yeah.
Like, does
Well,
it have
yeah,
like
no,
the bold and the like,
No,
all of
it
that
won't.
stuff with
It won't show up in the YouTube description. But I could like this is a string, so I can write whatever I want because it's Markdown, right? So if
Okay,
we
sure.
if we do a header,
I
Would have
didn't
been good if we
understand that
started
either.
with this.
Yeah,
TBH.
show us then.
I know. I'm sorry. Like I was trying, but then I would have to change the.
I
Yes,
thought this
we're-
was just like a text field. I didn't know this. I didn't know you could do it in here because I was like, how is it turning it into a list? How is it doing all of that?
Well, that's the gatsby-transformer-remark that's doing
No,
that.
no, I
So-
got that bit. I just didn't
yeah.
know. I didn't know there was a rich text editor in YouTube.
Oh, there isn't. It's just this here. It's just the text field.
So
Like
we
this
will
is
only,
a YouTube description.
We'll
field.
only get it on our page, and then YouTube it will actually
YouTube will
be
ignore
hashtag
it.
hashtag header.
Oh, so that
Yeah.
comes out on the YouTube description with the string.
Yeah, but that's
I
what's
like
so
it.
great with Markdown. It's human readable, right? So it doesn't like mess up the description. Nobody reads the YouTube descriptions anyway. It doesn't mess up the YouTube descriptions that bad. Like if you have a header here, like if you want to do like the team.
Yeah. I see what you're
would-
doing here.
Now I understand. Okay.
I see what you're doing, Quinn. You're turning YouTube into just another CMS.
Exactly, but that is what's so great with Gatsby, because instead of copy pasting, so instead of like for every video, we'll go and make like our own entry in a CMS or in our or a separate Markdown file. What we're doing is that we're sourcing it directly from the source instead of like copy pasting and linking.
Yeah.
The
I feel
magic.
like that needs to be like a stream or a boot camp on its own, like using
I
YouTube
know.
as a CMS. Well, why don't you lead with that? This is like, let's wait till we get to an hour before we all go, oh, now I understand what you're talking about.
Well, this was in my head. Like, could this be done? And it's like hard to explain stuff. But now I got to talk it through. Now I know. Let's
Paul,
have a look
Paul,
at Markdown.
this is all scripted. Do you think it's...
Yeah, but now everyone else knows. John, I can see John tinkering it away. He's starting his own boot camp about it. That's why he's gone quiet. He's just tweeted. He's got a 50% discount off on his new course. He's teamed up with Ineza.
Well, I would love if you do that, John. You have my blessing. So let's see.
Yes.
We don't have a team photo, so it will be the family. And I'll get.
Well, why don't we take a team photo now? Do a screenshot. Make us all big, and we can be like.
Well, then I will have to save the photo somewhere, right? I'm not gonna do that. So let's just head on over and like do our. Where do we have a photo of us in here? Do I have it? Yeah, I have it down. No, I thought I had it here.
Photos on.
I think on Ruby.
Yeah, that's us. Yeah, that's not Paul.
Oh, I said the family. So
we can put Paul's head.
I'm gonna Photoshop myself. Send me that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna Photoshop myself in. Where is that on Queen Raae?
Okay, let's just do the Queen then. We're doing the Queen, okay?
We can put Paul's head inside my belly. I want the big baby. I want it in my belly. Yeah.
Where was that? Where was that? Where was that image, Benedictios?
I'm
never telling.
Oh no, okay. I was going to say it.
Well, I can just watch the stream back. I'm on YouTube.
I mean, it was on somewhere on Ruby/Ruby.
Yeah.
Right, I'm photoshopping myself in.
Yeah.
I don't know if the web. Oh boy! Now I'm just YOLOing all over the place. Where's my source set?
You should tell Lillian that she's has her photo on the screen.
Oh, let's do this image then. Okay, so it's PNG. This is not working like I wanted to. I want this photo, but I want it in PNG. Why are you making them into web?
That's great. WebP is great. We love WebP.
I know, but I don't want it right now because I don't know if it's gonna work. Let's do this one. So this is officially YOLO time. Let's see. There we go.
We're gonna totally get YOLO when I get this.
Remember back in the day when we were doing this with Instagram, just scraping off the photos, printing them in the local print shop, and sending them all over the world. Yeah.
Okay, so let's save and source again and see if this shows up on our site like I wanted it to.
Are you doing John's thing now, where you're putting a photo in and then doing the magic?
I'm trying.
I'll put his comment back up then.
But I think I have to resource because I need to get that. Hopefully YouTube changes their updates their caches pretty quickly. But thank you for that wording, though. Of course, that's. Oh, was it? Who said it? Like, yeah, you said it all. I'm using YouTube as I'm
just another CMS.
Yeah, just another CMS.
Yeah, they're competing with Sandy now. Hey, why did you put John? Why did you put Turmeric down there?
Because I was talking to you and I wanted to see you above the. Okay.
I'll just do like this. Hello. But Yeah, I think so. The reason why I like that is that, YouTube, they're so, pardon me, maybe I shouldn't say it here on YouTube. Well, if somebody's interested in my opinions about YouTube, I think they have very high opinions of themselves, but they're just another CMS.
Yeah. I mean, they basically are. They're like
yeah, they should be.
Oh, it's building. It's so slow now. Okay, I saw your little script alert thing, Tamaric. I think so. Script tags. JSX will remove all script tags, so that won't work.
Even with set dangerously in our HTML.
Yep.
Damn it. All right. I'll have to figure something else out then.
Yeah.
But we could do strong style color red. We could probably do that.
What's dangerous about that?
I think that you can add things to to your image.
Oh yeah, like data URLs, stuff like that.
Yeah, you can do that, and then you can also add like things at the end of image. Image URLs, things like that. So people joining this stream, I see people are joining the stream now. Like we are at the YOLO phase of this stream where we're just like chatting and trying out stuff we have not confirmed. So this is you. If you want to learn stuff, you head on back to the beginning of the stream.
No, they should say hello. I want to know who they are. They should say hello in the chat.
Oh, look at that! Booyah!
Let's put it back.
I mean,
it's magic.
Like, am I queen or am I queen? Look at that.
Magic.
Can you wait like 2 minutes? I'm feeling a bit left out.
You mean I am not the team? And do not come with the like, where's the I in team joke?
Huh?
You haven't heard.
Okay. Can you explain this here thing that? Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is a great note to end it on. You can save that image somewhere, Paul, and we will do that after my summary.
No, we're doing it now. Go on.
Well, do you have it?
No, come on, talk.
Okay. I've forgotten how to use Photoshop. You carry on.
So what we wanted to try to do today, which I should have said in the start, is to use YouTube as a CMS. So I want to be able to write Markdown. I wanted to be able to write Markdown in the description field because YouTube's description field is just a big old unstyled text area. So why not have fun with it? And what I like about Markdown, both as the person writing it and also reading it, is that it is human readable, right? You could read this description, even though it's got the Markdown tags in it. It actually really works. Like you can see that, oh, this is obviously a heading because there's like some extra stuff. And then when you do little dashes in front, those are links. So we managed to make it work. So let's have a little look at this. This is regular text. Then we have some links. We have a heading and we also have an image. And if we now go and look at our description page or our YouTube video page, we can now see that we are getting the image in and we are, getting the links and everything is working as Markdown. Let's have a look to see if Gatsby has done. So John, for to get the images, to get the Gatsby magic working on images, we would have to add some plugins, I think, to the Transformer-remark plugin, some sub-plugins. If they haven't changed that now, if I remember correctly. So that is probably, so that hasn't happened yet. So we're not getting the Gatsby image magic now, but if we add the correct sub-plugins, that will work. But anyway, we are seeing everything come through from YouTube. So how do we make this work? Because originally on our site before today's stream, it's this one. We just kind of dumped this text string out as a pre-formatted text, and you can see the links don't work or anything like that. Okay, so I'm going to try to power through this fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
No.
So we already, on the source node API point, we are creating a node for each YouTube video, and it's of type... where is it? Here it is. We are creating nodes for each video, and it's of type that we have called YouTube. and we are adding all of the video information straight onto that node. And whenever you create a node, it calls onCreateNode. And inside onCreateNode, we are checking to see if it is the type YouTube. And we already had done this magic where we are getting the thumbnail as a remote file node. And then we kept on in the same way. And we are now, and then we created a description node that we are setting, we're giving it a type name, which is like supposed to be readable for us and something we know. But then the magic here is that we are saying that this node is of media type text markdown. And that makes this node into a markdown node, and all markdown nodes will be picked up by the gatsby-transformer-remark plugin that then takes markdown content and creates it into HTML that and does all other kinds of magic on the node that gives us that HTML we need. Important note is that this is on the internal. So everything that's on the internal key is stuff that is only supposed to be used by the Gatsby data layer and also other plugins. This is not something we should be using in our front end. We are saying that it's markdown, and we're saying that the markdown content is our description. And then we create the node. We also add the ID of that node to a field name description. And then we use that field description to link a description key to the ID and the field's description. And we say it should be YouTube description. I mean, you need to play around with these things to wrap your head around it, because I cannot explain it very succinctly. But that is what makes the node we have created up here appear on the description in our graphical. So let's have a look at graphical. Go to our all YouTube now. We suddenly have a description key here with HTML and all of the other good. We have child markdown, read mark, and under there we have HTML and all the other goodness we get with the Markdown plugin. For instance, we could get a table of content. I think that will give us the headings.
Yeah.
And also time to read and word count. So I think the time to read here is like less than a minute for everyone. But is there a time? No, there is no table of content on this one. But anyway, it gives us all of the good stuff that comes with the Markdown Remark plugin, or the Remark plugin. Yeah. Thank you, John. Thank you.
But it's he's right though.
I should probably write a blog post about this.
I think you should. This is really
take the credit. Do you think Smashing Magazine wants it?
I have another suggestion.
The Gatsby blog would want it.
Yeah, I don't have a clue, but couldn't you just?
Well, the Gatsby blog will have to pay.
I have a question.
Yes, Ola.
So I don't have a clue, but couldn't this be made into a plugin, like the YouTube CMS plugin thing?
Yes, it could.
Because then we don't have to wrap our heads around it. We can just plug it in.
What we could do, I think, because I think there is a very popular YouTube plugin.
Yeah.
That then already creates YouTube nodes, but then we could create like an additional plugin that just does makes the descriptions into Markdown nodes and adds them to, because I think like I could create a plugin that extends the schema and adds information onto a node created by another plugin. So just for John, we're doing the image magic as well.
Can we take the URL I put in the private chat?
Oh, I didn't see it.
Of course we can. Don't do anything with it, Ola. I'm gonna put it into.
I want to look at it. Where are you, Paul? I can't see you. You're the guy with the golden tooth?
I'm in there.
What?
Okay, let's just add all of the source stuff in there too, because we have to restart dev. And then I didn't come to the plugin. I just The Gatsby docs are sometimes so confusing, Paul. I'm gonna yell at you for every time.
No,
there's-
don't shoot the messenger. The suspense, the horror.
But where? I know I've done this so many times. Like, where do I add the plugins for the images?
I get this comment now. I think Luigi Claudio means that the CMS thing should be the show title for today's show. What is our show?
Yeah.
Source YouTube descriptions at Markdowns something CMS something.
Markdown. Images. Gatsby. Come on, give me the correct. There we go.
It's very funny that you're down in the corner there, Paul. Oh, he's gone. He's gone.
Who's gone? Is Paul gone? Oh,
yeah.
He went to the... Okay, so configure for images and post in the same directory, different directory. Oh, maybe it can only do it for local images. Inline images. There we go. I think we can do it. So we got gatsby-transformer-remark, and then we have options. So maybe it can't do it for, maybe it can't do its image magic for external images. Then we'd have to do some even more magic and like import those ourselves. Let's see.
Oh yeah, they haven't seen it yet. That's why they're okay.
And nobody's laughing here because we haven't seen it yet because I'm trying to do two things at once.
I've seen it, Paul. Paul thinks that if he stays away, that he won't be here when he comes. But oh, he's coming back! Yes. Yeah.
Okay, we're installing Gatsby Remark images, and if I remember correctly, the Gatsby Transformer Sharp and plugin images have to come after.
Let's see.
Okay, let's rebuild and see your image, Paul.
Yes. Plug image.
I did save our video, didn't I? Yeah, there's no changes.
No.
Oh, something is wrong.
Oh no.
Ooh.
Yeah. So they don't like set fields.
Let's see. Gatsby Transformer Remark, options, plugins, Gatsby Remark images.
Oh.
That's the only thing I changed, wasn't it? Oh, I probably have to do a clean. Are you so looking forward to us seeing this photo, Ola?
Yes, I am.
The suspense.
Yeah. Yes. So Paul, who is this Gatsby that joined our stream earlier? Who do you think is behind it?
It's Gatsby admin. That's who it was.
But who is that then? It's a secret.
They are Gatsby admin. That's all I know. I don't even know.
Okay, we have to. We're just gonna remove this image business because I'll have to figure that out off stream, John.
We'll do it sometime. Oh, that's great. Oh, yeah, that's right.
How do you think it should work, John? It should work, but something was. We are in YOLO land now. Anything is possible.
It is.
Well, now it works. Now it actually runs, at least.
Oh! Oh, okay. I'll go back to the original waiting thing. Oh, okay.
No.
I mean, if
Oh my
you
God,
are just tuning in now, this must be the maddest thing ever. No context. You just join the stream and there's a bloke with a
mad and
musical
proud.
box.
Mad and proud. So I have been challenged by someone to start brainstorming some merch ideas. So
Yes.
so now with all of my YOLOing, maybe that's a merch idea.
Yeah. So what do you mean by merch? Are you talking cup? T-shirt?
T-shirt stickers. Look who got her Funk Jam sticker.
Yeah.
I know, they're good. Can you see mine? Can you see it here?
No.
Yeah.
Yes, I see it. Yeah,
So
Lillian.
This,
Lillian and me, we got him. Because Lillian and me, we were in the Funk Jam competition, and then
they're cool. I think they're good stickers, aren't they? I like them.
Super good. And then it says Lillian and Ora on the envelope that we got. So she opened it up, and then she realized how cool they were. So when we tried to share them, there were 10. So I ended up with 2. And we had a whole discussion about, is that fair that she gets 8 and I get 2? And then she had to take a little lay down on her bench there and go into a little.
I'm not laughing. I'm now seeing the picture, Ola.
Yes. Look at that. Do you see? Paul?
Okay, everyone, this is merch.
The family.
This is the cup. Nobody is gonna ever want this as merch. We're gonna offer it.
I think all of the merch, no matter what it is, I should just always have my face tiny in the corner, regardless of what it is. It'd be like Where's Wally, but we'll just call it Where's Paulie, and I can just be in various places.
I mean, you could have been here, like peeking out.
I was going to do that.
You should have been there, like peeking out the blinders.
I could probably do that as well. Well, maybe that would be something fun for us to do every now and then. Like we can just update this image, and you can check back on Natamob and see if it's updated.
Oh well. So
maybe what we should do
that kind of concludes the educational part of this thing.
You know what?
What did you want to say, Paul? Sorry.
I was just going to say what we could do is have a little download link on the site where you can get that picture without me and then a picture of me, and people can just Photoshop me in, and we'll just update it every now and then. It can be a community competition.
Yeah.
Inessa says he also got his stickers.
Oh,
great!
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Where have you put them, Inessa?
Do the winners get stickers as well? Because I haven't gotten any stickers.
Yes, but you confuse things even with the grand prize. I think
I'm not getting any stickers.
You've been banned.
Okay. Well, I'm getting an M1 soon, everyone. So the streams will be faster.
Yeah,
yes, please do.
T-shirt merch image coming soon. Are you gonna send us an image, John, or are you just saying what I should say? Because there will be images.
No, he's saying that we should do it.
Yeah. So yeah, that actually concludes this stream.
Oh, Inessa got a Gatsby hoodie? Ooh,
good.
What?
That is groovy.
That is groovy. So yeah, this concludes us making.
Sorry.
No, come on, go.
I was going to say, Inessa, you can thank Gatsby admin for that. The mysterious Gatsby admin.
Yes,
that was a special one-off extra for Inessa.
Yes.
Oh wow, that is cool.
Yeah, pictures. We want pictures.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of YOLO here from John and see if that comes through. Oh, that is not allowed. Oh, I'm trying to save this now.
What happens if you can put a class name on it, like a Tailwind class name?
Angled brackets aren't allowed in YouTube descriptions.
Oh.
Oh. So I can't even do this? No. Okay. Well, there you go. YouTube protects its text field. So yeah, we can trust the HTML coming out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that concludes that.
Did we prove that now, actually? That is
well,
cool.
I'm not allowed to save it. Look at that. I am not even, like, as soon as I write an angle bracket, it goes red. Angle brackets aren't allowed.
Tube buddy. No, you need to sign. What is tube buddy?
What are you? Oh, that is something that is like something you can use to check searches and stuff. It's like got nothing to do with the thing. Let's undo those last changes.
There we go. Thank you, Ineza.
Okay, that concludes the stream. I've been trying to. This is my 3rd or 4th time saying it. Ula, do you want to transition us out?
All right. This has been another unauthorized and rum-fueled Thursday treasure hunt in the sharky waters surrounding Gatsby Islands with Gatsby Deep Diving Queen Raae!
Woohoo! We vamos a ha det.
And her Natimore pirates! Paul?
Hello.
Tom, our guest, Tom Erik, and me, Ola.
Bye.
And next week we'll be doing. Next week we'll be doing. I don't have a clue. You want to just...
next week we are doing
Story block, isn't it?
story block.
Yes.
I'm so confused because there's like story this and then there's the block
You're
that
right.
and then there's the story. Anyway, Devrel Arissa is coming on to show us how we can source some content from a proper CMS.
Yes.
Oh, is that actually happening? Because I'm looking at the notes and it said, "Paul do I still need to do all this though, or not?"
Well, yeah,
sorry, we're doing planning live on stream. We'll talk about this later.
It's on the 18th. Yeah, that's next time. Yeah.
Wave, blow the whistle again. Wave.
Okay, and look what Gatsby is still here, and they are saying there will be new merch on the Gatsby store.
Ooh.
But will there be Nattermob merch at the Gatsby store?
I don't know about that. Unbelievable that Gatsby's hung in there for an hour and a half. That's mental.
That's mental.
Bye.
Bye.